Hello everyone. We're going to do the second half of the cemetery video today. Staying mostly in the newer section, not the newest section, but it's kind of the transition between the old and the new. And there's some beautiful sculptures and some stuff up here, so we'll try to give you a little bit on what we find up here and give you the history and interesting parts. So I hope you enjoy and keep a watch. And don't forget to subscribe. As you enter Oakwood Cemetery from Comstock Ave, the very first mausoleum you'll see is a large mausoleum from Lyman Cornelius Smith. Lyman Cornelius Smith started the L.C. Smith Typewriter Company in 1904. It grew out of a firearms manufacturing plant and joint venture with Remington. At the time, all typewriters were an underplaten strike configuration where you could not see what you were typing because it was striking the bottom of the roller. Lyman Smith got disgusted with the Remington business culture and went out on his own. He then designed and patented a typewriter where the keys struck the middle of the platen so you could see what you were typing, and then designed a shift key so you could push a key and go from small letters to capital letters. Before this time, you had to change the keys to get capitals or small case letters. Around 1935, Smith Typewriting Company merged with the Corona Manufacturing and became Smith Corona. During World War II, the company manufactured parts for Springfield rifles. The company moved from Syracuse to Cortland around 1960. L.C. Smith also owned a shipbuilding company in Toledo and a large freighter company on the Great Lakes. Mr. Smith died without any will or any thought to his arrangements after death, and so his family built this mausoleum. In 1913, 12 teams of horses brought to Granite Stone from New Hampshire to build the mausoleum. They used what was the largest crane in New York to move the stones. L.C. Smith's mausoleum is designed in a Carnegie style, the same as the old Syracuse Library downtown. The stained glass window was designed and built by Tiffany's with the Angel of Resurrection in the window. And this is what it looks like from inside the crypt looking out. Laura Geddes Baldwin, the wife of Harvey Baldwin, Syracuse's first mayor. She was originally buried in the family farm in Fairmount along with the rest of the Geddes family, but was moved to Oakwood Cemetery when her father, James Geddes, was moved there from Rose Hill Cemetery. Though her headstone is not especially ornate or flamboyant, it is a popular grave to visit due to the inscription on the grave headstone. It goes, "In less than one revolving year, she was a maid, a bride, a corpse. In her springtime, she flew to that land where the wings of the soul unfurl, and now, like a star beyond evening's cold dew, looks radiantly down on the tears of this world." But there's her father, James Geddes. While many monuments in this and mausoleums are here to memorialize and show the wealth of some people, some things in here are just to show strength and the ability to get things done. And this is the Krause Boulder. In 1904, a stir was caused in Syracuse when Charles Mabey Crouse planned to memorialize his father, Jacob Crouse, by placing a large boulder in the family plot. The commotion was not caused by the act, but how the boulder was to be transported to Oakwood. An extensive search for the boulder found an appropriate rock in the Wilbur Farm on Terry Road in Split Rock. It weighed 80 tons and he paid $5,000 to have it delivered to the cemetery. It was initially proposed to move the boulder by train, but a crane large enough to lift the boulder could not be found. The next idea was having a team of 40 horses pull the boulder on a sled on the slippery roads through winter. But there were too many sharp curves and downwards hills that would have got the horses in trouble, and there's no way to slow the boulder on the downhill. What took place instead occurred later in early spring when the roads were still covered in snow. A capstan, one team of draft horses, and 6 men were employed to move 2-inch planks and rollers individually to slowly move the boulder through town. It moved about 900 feet per day, and the 6-mile trip to Oakwood took 8 weeks. The newspapers reported on the progress every day, and crowds gathered along the route to watch the slow progress. And this is an impressive rock just sitting here. A lot of people think that this was already here from the glacier or something, but it was moved. So, interesting story of how to memorialize your father. That's the Krause Boulder in the Crouse. We are in the cemetery in section 44, but this section of the cemetery was reserved for orphans of the Onondaga Orphanage Asylum, and it had this beautiful carving erected by Christine Calvin, one of the founders of the Orphanage Society. And it's a motherly woman comforting 2 children, which is what Christine Calvin did. She was a very unique person. Not an especially rich person in Syracuse, but very compassionate towards and children. And this is all the orphanage sites. There's another monument down at the bottom. The bottom of this hill has these Japanese kasura trees and yellowwood alternating to make beautiful flowering during the spring. This is Lewis Redfield, and he had decided that he wanted his look-alike. That was his profile, carved by Esser, who carves a lot of these carvings. Both of these were carved by John Esser, and he is credited as the first person to carve Onondaga limestone. And he's quite unique at the time anyways, and does some beautiful carvings, realizing that this was done in 1857, I believe, and then it was put on the memorial when the person died. We are right next to the highway, so hopefully you can hear me. But this is John Esser's grave. He was the sculptor for a lot of the very ornate and upscale monuments in the cemetery, and his monument is fairly small and mediocre, and I think that says a lot for the sculptor himself. He's probably a humble man. This is the Sabey Mausoleum. It was built in 1880. The Sabeys were hat makers, and the father gave the business to the sons. I don't know much about the father, but the sons were known to be quite crazy, which is what making hats does to you. Mad as a hatter. They made the finest hats in the United States, it was said. And they were often arrested for various crazy things they were doing. But one of the things I want to tell you about this is that this monument, this mausoleum, has been completely taken apart and put back together. It was ready to cave in. It's built into the side of the hill, and the Historical Society for Oakwood Cemetery found somebody with the knowledge and the know-how to repair it, and they literally took the whole thing apart stone by stone and put it back together with good mortar, modern mortar, and but the same stones. Every stone is marked. You can find some of the marks, but it's built into the hill, so it's just the front face is what you really see. The story is that the inside of the monument looked like the bottom of a plant. If you ever transplanted a pot-bound plant, house plant, it was all roots inside. They had to take a chainsaw and cut out the roots to rebuild it and get it all pieced back together. In contrast, right next to the Sabey Mausoleum is the Gussman Mausoleum, and that is in really bad shape. The big stones are, they have holes and woodchucks under them and all sorts of things. Lots of trees. You can see the cracks in the stonework. Stones are missing in place. The bushes, these roots that come up and do a lot of damage. So not in good shape, and this may be one in the future that they'll try to fix. The Reverend Erastus H. Adams, born 1798, Simsbury, Hartford County, Connecticut, died May 25, 1837, in Lockport, New York. His brother was the Reverend James W. Adams. He died in 1850 in Syracuse. Erastus H. Adams married Elmira Rowe. She outlived him by almost 50 years. She remarried and died in Aiken County, South Carolina, possibly while on a trip, as it appears her second husband was born and died in Onondaga County. Erastus and Elmira had 3 children. Henry W. the First died 3 years in 1833. Mary Elizabeth lived to 20 years of age. Harry W. II lived to 1 year and 3 months of age. The monument memorializes all members of the family I just spoke about, and they were all originally buried in Rose Hill Cemetery and were moved to Oakwood in October of 1866. I doubt that this monument was originally on the Rose Hill Cemetery. I suspect that it was probably later erected by his wife while she was living in Pompey with her second husband. Just beyond Lyman Smith's monument, there is the Bible Garden, which is a sanctuary for somebody to sit and contemplate the afterlife in the Bible. And there's a very nice plaque in here with an open page to the Bible, open to the Lord's Prayer, which is, while these beautiful Corinthian columns in an arch are meant to memorialize this family, today they are used more often for wedding pictures. People come in here after their wedding and stand on the stairs and get quite a few pictures taken for them. So if you come in June during the spring or summer, you will often find people waiting their turn to get on those columns and those stairs for a picture, which is pretty. We are at the Civil War Soldiers Memorial, Section 56. It is everybody buried here is a Civil War soldier. In 2000, Chris Purring, a Civil War buff, saw a replacement effort to replace every headstone in here with a new marble headstone, and he did that. In the middle we have a statue of Colonel August Root, who has been stolen several times and was had to be replaced. There are 4 Congressional Medal of Honor recipients in the cemetery. Several of them are here. Oakwood has